Hi guys, and welcome back to Playtech TV. Today we're going to be looking at the Asus Lyra whole home Wi-Fi system. This is a mesh networking product, which is actually a set of 3 different network nodes that are going to help you to get full coverage over your whole house to make sure that there are no Wi-Fi dead spots or anything like that. Mesh networks are something that have been around for a while and have been really popular in the corporate and professional spaces, but in order to have something like that at home, it was just way too technical, way too expensive, and you sort of needed a system administrator just to keep track of everything on the network and make sure everything was working properly. So it wasn't really very feasible for a home user up until recently. And over the past year or so, we've seen a lot of mesh network products come out onto the market. They're still a fairly new concept for home users, but they are an excellent way of making sure that you get very, very good coverage all over your house. Now, they're still a fairly new product for the home user, but they are a very, very good way of ensuring that you've got full Wi-Fi coverage over your whole house. But in order to really understand the benefits of a mesh network, we're going to first take a look at some of the more traditional kind of Wi-Fi network setups that you might find in a house, and the sort of downfalls of those, and why a mesh network would be better and help you if you suffer from some of those downfalls. So first of all, we've got the standard home network. Now this is where you've more or less just got one modem router type device just parked somewhere in the house. They're usually not in a great place. They usually just tend to sort of be wherever they're close to a phone plug or wherever your provider has installed it. So firstly, the placement is never really optimal. And secondly, you've just got that one location which is beaming out a Wi-Fi signal from. Now, obviously you can have a really powerful home router, but it's not always going to get full coverage just because of limitations or sort of obstacles in the structure of the house. So it could be anything like, say, a kitchen or a bathroom, things that have tiled surfaces, things that have lots of plumbing or soundproofing or things like that in the walls. They can all contribute to just blocking off that Wi-Fi signal, so where a single point wireless system just doesn't really cut it. They're great for small size houses, apartments, things like that, but more and more all the time we're seeing these traditional single point networks just aren't really meeting the needs of a modern household. So obviously the next step and the progression of that style of network is to add a Wi-Fi extender. It will actually give you some pretty good range, and it will allow you to be a little bit more flexible with your position of your home wireless network. Unfortunately though, the big downside for a network like this is that it creates a second SSID. So the second Wi-Fi hotspot is actually a separate network. So when you're walking from one side of the house, it will actually at some point have to drop off and reconnect to the new network. Now this doesn't always work as perfectly as you would like it to. Oftentimes you will actually still be staying on, even though you're on the edge of the network and you are in the presence of a much stronger network on the other side of the house, because you've still got that little bit of signal coming through your phone or your laptop or something like that, sometimes will still stay connected to the original access point, and you'll just be sort of still sitting there with really crap reception, really crap signal. So that's one of the big downsides of having an extender is having that separate SSID, that the sort of transition between the two isn't always seamless. So yes, you can get a little bit better coverage and better range and things like that, but it's a little bit of a clumsy kind of way of doing it. So this is where mesh networks come in, and this is where they really shine. Essentially, you can add all these extra mesh nodes to a network, and every single one that is in range of another unit will actually connect to those different nodes. So if you've got 3 nodes all within range of each other, they will all connect to each other. Now this is where a mesh network really comes in handy and really separates itself from the others as the sort of perfect home solution for full coverage. Essentially, with a mesh network, you can add multiple nodes, and all these different nodes will actually all connect to each other within range of each other. All the nodes that are within range of each other will connect together to basically figure out the best path for your traffic back to your router. So they're really good if you need that roaming functionality of being able to move around, or you just don't like it that when you might be watching something on your phone and then you walk into another room and it cuts off or something like that while you're transitioning between networks. You don't have to worry about anything like that. And it's super easy to actually administer and everything these days. You can jump on an app and actually take care of most of the management, which we'll get to in just a minute. But so essentially, that's our three types of networks that we're going to have in most home situations. We've got our single point, our traditional just modem router. We've got the second one where you've got a router and an extender, and then we've got the ultimate, the mesh network. And so the benefits of the mesh network, once again, are that you have a single network that just covers everything. And obviously you can be really flexible with the positioning of those network nodes, and make sure that, like, if you've got 2, 3, 4, whatever, you can position them around the house to get around those dead spots. Like I said before, tiled surfaces in kitchens, things like that, concrete walls, anything like that. You can position these nodes around them to kind of ensure that you are getting that coverage and you're not getting these weird dead spots or anything like that. So now that we know what a mesh network is and why we want one, let's take a look specifically at the Asus Lyra that I've got here behind me and see why this is a great choice for your home or small business network. So the Lyra package comes with 3 of these access points. Now each of them is a tri-band device. That means it's got 2 5 GHz bands and a single 2.4 GHz band. On the 5 GHz band, you've got a maximum bandwidth of 867 megabits per second and 400 on the 2.4 gig. That's fairly standard for AC devices these days. Inside the Lyra, you've actually got 4 smart antennas, so 1 on each side, and those are actually used to help the nodes actually sort of communicate with each other to see which other nodes they're close to, and then to prioritize the gain of the antennas to communicate directly with those other nodes, which wouldn't really work if you only had, say, 1 or 2 antennas or something like that. You need 1 on each side so that it can sort of directionally choose and communicate with the other nodes and figure out whereabouts they are and how it's going to rig up this mesh network in your house. Each unit has a 700 megahertz CPU on the inside and 256 megabytes of RAM and 128 megabytes of flash storage. Now you might look at those specs individually and think, oh wow, that's not much, but when you consider that there's 3 of them and that they're balancing the load between them, that is actually quite an impressive spec. Now, of course, we've got some buttons on the side. We've got the pairing button, so that's used for linking the devices together, nice and easy, and a reset button on the back. Obviously, what router would be good without one of those? Now, around the side here, we've got 2 network ports. So on your base unit, so the first one that you're connecting into your network, you're going to have a WAN connection and then an Ethernet connection going out from that. But so that first unit that you plug in is the only one that needs to be connected to your WAN connection. So whether that's to a modem or to a fiber ONT or something like that, the first one is the only one that needs a wired connection. For all the rest, the Ethernet ports are there purely for if you say have one of these nodes sitting next to, say, the TV or something, you've got a smart TV and you want to run a cable straight out the back of it rather than using wireless. So exactly like an access point or something like that, where you've got the wireless option bounced out from around it, but then also a wired connection to be able to plug into it. So that's really great. Now, of course, these little devices, they look really cool, like they'll sort of blend into your house, no worries, but they can also be wall mounted, and they kind of look like a smoke detector or something like that, kind of like a really fancy smoke detector with LEDs on it. This sort of ring on the outside kind of lights up there. So yeah, nice and slick. They'll blend into your house, no worries. They're not going to look like your standard router or anything like that, where they're just like a big, ugly, some of the new routers we're seeing look like spaceships and things like that. It's not going to be anything like that. Nice and low key, and it'll just camouflage itself in your house there. Now, once your network is up, of course you want to make sure that it stays up, and managing the actual network is a breeze from the Asus Lyra app, and all the normal functions that you need to be able to do on a daily basis are absolutely accessible from the app. But there is a little section down the bottom on the Security Insights page that I really like. This system uses the Asus AI protection software, which is designed by Trend Micro actually, so absolute monsters in the security industry. So they've actually worked with Asus to design a security system that is actually built into the Asus Lyra setup, and it has a lifetime guarantee for updates and everything like that. So I mean, I would always recommend running antivirus or firewall, things like that on your computer itself, but having that extra layer of protection is absolutely awesome, especially if you are kind of looking after your family's network. Say you've got kids or older family members, something who don't really understand security and things like that, so that even if they have that point of failure on their own device, you still have that extra layer outside there on which you can hopefully stop things before they get too bad. So anyway, like I was saying, this little section on the Security Insights page will give you, it's kind of like a dashboard, and it will give you an overview of like whether there have been any malicious attacks or sites or anything like that try and mess with stuff on your network, and it will let you sort of just let you monitor and handle those threats as they come up. Now, secondary to the Asus AI protection, you also have a family protection area where basically you can kind of set the content that you'd like to filter out of your network. So like I said before, if you've got family, say elderly or parents or kids or anything like that, and you want to make sure that they're not getting themselves into trouble, whether it's from like potentially malicious websites, or whether it's just seeing things that you don't want kids to see on the internet, you can absolutely block that stuff here from the app, and that will just give you that extra layer of protection to make sure that people aren't going to be getting themselves into mischief and potentially compromising your network. Now, who would I recommend this product to? Well, that's easy. People with large houses, multi-stories, large single stories, anything like that. People who are having trouble with dead spots all over their house, something like that. This product here, the Asus Lyra system, is absolutely for you. That was designed for you. So definitely take a look at that. Secondary to that, there's the people who have a router already and they have an extender. They're just sick of having multiple SSIDs and having their devices kind of linger and not jumping between them properly. Those people will also get a lot of satisfaction out of this system. Well, that's all for today, guys. Thanks for checking out the Asus Lyra system. Thanks again to Asus for sending this over to me. They've sent a lot of cool stuff for us to play with lately. Really appreciative of that. If you got any questions, just let us know. Come see us at Playtech if you're looking for any of this gear. And I'll see you soon. That's Playtech TV. See you later.